The format for the workout is pretty straightforward. It'll be 4 rounds of 5 movements, and there's 1 minute of rest included between each round. We'll do 1 minute of flying swords, 1 minute of plank punches, 1 minute of dead bugs, where you'll have 2 dumbbells above your head with the arms locked out, 1 minute of plank shoulder taps, and 1 minute of goblet squats. We have a countdown clock from 23 minutes. We have Coach Lauren leading the workout today, and as always, if you need more information or a refresher on any of the movements, you can check out the demo videos before you get started. We're going to start with flying swords in 3, 2, 1, and go. The purpose of the movement is to increase the elasticity in the tissues and to improve your body awareness. This is a full body movement. We want to perform it as fluid as possible, so relax your body and tune in to how you're moving in space. You're going to stretch up, and then you can relax the back as you come down. You don't have to have a neutral spine as you lower the hands between the legs. Nice job, you're halfway there. We're initiating the movement by bringing the arms up overhead and then coming down with that flying sword. Nice job, you've got 15 seconds left here before we switch to plank punches. Five seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and switch to plank punches. This can be either on your knees or in a full plank position. Regardless, we want to make sure to have that tabletop position with the back. We want to minimize the rocking back and forth, so you really need to stabilize those hips and activate the core. With each rep, you can look up and see what you're punching. Nice work, you're halfway there. We want to avoid that low back from sagging, but we also don't want the butt straight up in the air, so you need to find that middle ground with the tabletop position. Nice job, you got 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and we're gonna switch. We've got weighted deadbugs next. You're gonna lay on your back, extend the arms up over the shoulders, and you're alternating the legs coming down. We want to stabilize the spine and activate those deep core muscles. We want to keep the low back flat against the ground throughout the movement, so only go as much as you can without the low back coming up off the ground. We need to activate the core and use a pelvic tilt in order to keep the low back on the ground. So you need to pull in that belly button and tuck the tailbone. We have 10 seconds left before we switch back to that plank position for shoulder taps. We're going to switch in 3, 2, 1, and shoulder taps. You can do either same side or opposite shoulder. You want to have that same posture with the plank. So tabletop position, trying to stabilize without the hips rocking back and forth too much. It's important to keep those shoulders activated, so make sure the shoulders are over the wrists and you're pushing away from the ground and not sagging into those shoulders. Nice job, we've got 20 seconds left before we switch to goblet squats. We're going to switch in 3, 2, 1, and switch. You can grab your weight. You're going to hold it right under your chin, right on the chest. For these squats, you're trying to go as deep as you can without compensation. So make sure that the knees do not pass the toes and try to keep the shins as vertical as possible. Remember that the butt should be initiating the movement, not the knees. So we want to hinge from the hips and really sit back in the squat. Nice job, you have less than 10 seconds left here, and then we'll have a full minute of rest. 3, 2, 1, and rest for a minute. We're gonna start back up at the 17-minute mark, and we're gonna start round 2 with 1 minute of flying swords. We're gonna start in 3, 2, 1, and go. We've got flying swords. We really want to tension up and then bring the arms and the body down. Nice job. Remember, we want to be as fluid as possible in this movement, really relaxing and tuning in to how you're moving. We've got less than 10 seconds left here, and then we're going to switch to plank punches. We're going to switch in 3, 2, 1, and switch. Remember to lead the movement with your eyes, so you can look down as you transition and then look up as you're punching. We're spending a lot of time in this plank position, so remember to really activate those shoulders. Nice job. Less than 10 seconds left, and then we're going to switch to weighted deadbugs. We're going to switch in 3, 2, 1, and switch. Gonna roll over on your back. Keep those weights up over your shoulders. Lock it out and alternate the leg that comes down. This movement is so good for you, really stabilizing the spine and activating those deep core muscles. We've got 15 seconds left here, and then we're going to switch to plank shoulder taps. Five seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and let's go ahead and switch to those shoulder taps. Like those dead bugs, these shoulder taps in the plank position are also really working on that spine and activating those deep core muscles. If you feel like your torso is shifting a lot, you can gently retract your belly button and engage the butt throughout the movement. So squeeze your butt and really activate those core muscles. You've got 15 seconds left here, and then we're gonna do goblet squats. We're gonna switch in 3, 2, 1, and switch to goblet squats. We have 1 minute here, and then we'll have a full minute of rest, closing out this second round. Nice job, you've got 15 seconds left. Let's finish out this round number 2 strong. We're gonna finish up in 3, 2, 1, and rest for 1 minute. Next up, we have flying swords. We're gonna start up again at the 11-minute mark. We've got flying swords starting in 3, 2, 1, and go. Starting off on this third round out of 4. Great job, you're about halfway there. Remember to really relax in this movement and be as fluid as possible. We're gonna switch to plank punches in 3, 2, 1, and switch. We're getting pretty deep into this workout, so you might start getting a little fatigued in these movements. Remember to really focus on that form, and when you need to rest, you can go ahead and do so, and then get back after it when you're ready. Nice job, you got 30 seconds left. You can exhale with every punch that you do to ensure you're not holding your breath. We're gonna switch to weighted deadbugs in 3, 2, 1, and switch. Great job, you're halfway there. Make sure those arms stay locked out and the legs should be at a 90-degree angle in that starting position. We're going to switch to shoulder taps in 3, 2, 1, and switch. Don't be afraid to do these on your knees, even if you've been doing the full plank position this whole time. We really want to, again, focus on that form and stabilizing the core. Here we go, hang in there, you're doing great. You've got 10 seconds left, and we're gonna switch to goblet squats. We're gonna switch in 3, 2, 1, and switch. We've got goblet squats for a minute, and then we'll rest for a minute before we start our fourth and final round. You guys are doing great. We want to keep those eyes up and the chest up in these squats, but every once in a while you can look down just to make sure that those knees are not passing the toes and that those shins stay as vertical as possible throughout the movement. Great work. 15 seconds left here. Three, 2, 1, and rest for a minute. We're going to start back up again at the 5-minute mark, and we're going to finish off our fourth and final round, starting with 1 minute of flying swords. Three, 2, 1, and go. Let's finish off this last round really strong. We have 5 minutes left of work to do. Halfway there. Really enjoy this movement and take your time with it. You don't have to rush through these reps of flying swords. We're going to switch to plank punches in 3, 2, 1, and switch. Let's get that tabletop position going. And remember, you can exhale with every punch that you do. Here we go, you're halfway there. Keep it up. Let's switch to weighted dead bugs in 3, 2, 1, and switch. You can roll over on your back and get started. Here we go, less than 15 seconds left here on these weighted dead bugs. We have plank shoulder taps next. We're gonna switch in 3, 2, 1, and switch. Here we go, you're doing great. You only have 90 seconds left of work to do today. Let's keep it up and finish strong. Here we go, 20 seconds left. We're gonna switch in 3, 2, 1, to Goblet Squats. This is our final minute of work. Nice job, keep that chest up and extend the hips at the top of the squat. Here we go, 30 seconds left here. We're gonna finish up in 3, 2, 1, and time. Great job. I know that was a long workout. It's time to cool down, stretch, and hydrate. See you next time.